What's up, everybody? I'm Zach, and welcome to my new YouTube channel, Aerial Assault. Today we're going to be talking saddles, and specifically the new saddle from Wild Edge. And thanks to the guys from Wild Edge, we're also going to be giving away a shirt, a Saddle Up shirt. What I need you to do is go to the Saddle Up Facebook page, and only the Saddle Up Facebook page. If you will comment what you think about the new Yarak saddle on that page, and share it. I'll pick a winner August the 19th. I'll get your information over to Greg Staggs. He'll get that out to you just as soon as possible. And guys, I'm just a regular 9-to-5 guy. I work for a living, I hunt for a hobby. Hopefully some of my content will relate to you guys. We got a velvet hunt coming up, I believe August 23rd through the 25th. I'll be there. Hopefully we'll have some great footage from it. If you don't mind, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully everything I do will relate to a lot of you guys. Hope to see you soon. With me today, I have Greg Staggs, the Vice President of Wild Edge. It's also I believe, the Vice President of Media and Strategy. Is that correct?
That's my official title, yeah.
Hey, well, I appreciate you for having me. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for coming down.
And today we're here to talk about your saddle.
Yep.
The Yarak, I believe is how you say it.
Yeah, it is. It has to do with it's from the same family of names and vernacular that Arrow Hunter. Obviously, we partnered with those, have a close relationship with those guys. And they've chosen to name their series of saddles, the Kestrel and the Kite, and from the Hawk and the Raptor family. And so the Yarak has to do with being fit and trained up and ready to hunt like a hawk. So that's where we got the name from, and we believe in, obviously going out and doing your work and scout, hunt. We kind of think of it as work, hunt, and it all falls into the same pattern.
I see here you have an Arrow Hunter badge on here.
Yep.
I take it this is a collaboration between you and Arrow Hunter?
It is, and what you're looking at here is actually one of the very, very first prototypes that we got sent to us when we started collaborating together and putting that partnership together. So, yep.
So let me ask, basically you're outsourcing the saddle to Arrow Hunter, but it is technically a Wild Edge saddle. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, and think of it, anybody who's making a saddle, whether, you got 3 or 4 major players on the scene now. Everybody knows that we're in the process on our own Facebook group, a Saddle Up, of giving away a trophy line. Obviously, those guys that own that company, that manufacture, that own the company and doing the PR work and all that, they're not sitting in the sewing machine themselves sewing that trophy line saddle. They're outsourcing it to somebody, right? Same thing with Tether. They're having somebody sew their saddle for us. Well, when we look at making our own saddle, who better than to sew a saddle in the industry than someone who's been doing it for 35 years straight? They've been keeping climbing enthusiasts and arborists alive for 35 years, sewing saddles for that industry. And so, and obviously they're well known in the saddle hunting industry as well with their Arrow Hunter line that they came out with in 2012. So when we look at partnering with someone to make our own saddle, and you're right, it is a Wild Edge saddle. It's our own property. But when we look at someone to collaborate and make that with us, and then we get not only the qualities that they're known for, we also get the brains behind. Casey Jones is incredible. He's a genius because he's been doing this for a long time, and he brought a lot of ideas to us. So it is a collaboration between a true saddle manufacturer and people that saddle hunt a lot too. And we're really happy and proud of the partnership.
I've spoken with Casey. I mean, his mind is ingenious. I mean, it's always going. I don't know if you guys seen this week on Facebook, but he actually recreated the instruction manual to be like a folding card, and when you open it up, it's just, his mind is always ticking.
Yeah, well, we'll get into, I know you've got a lot of questions about the Yarak, some of the differences and things like that, but since we're on that page, I think it flows well. Just last night, we've known about it for a while, obviously. We've had it in the plans, but we went ahead and put it on the Wild Edge Instagram page, the story, and I think now it's all over Facebook as well. But this was an idea that Casey had brought to us. He's like, look, the pleat in the original Flex and what we incorporated and brought over to the Wild Edge Yarak, the pleat has offered so much comfort. It has been such a hit. I mean, literally, everybody basically deems it as the Cadillac of saddles. That feature just offers so much comfort. And they're like, why don't, but then you look at people and they're like, well, I don't know if I can wear that in the South, or maybe it's a little hot for me in early season. And we started working with Casey, and Casey's like, hey, look, I've always wanted to do a pleat and a kite, but we're kind of, we're beyond that now. So why don't we offer that as in a second Yarek, a second Wild Edge saddle model, and I'll make a pleated mesh saddle. And so we're actually going to be launching 2 Yareks here, this one and the pleated mesh.
Man, that is awesome, because I actually hunt out of a kite because I sweat a lot. I
Right.
do a lot of walking, I do a lot of sweating, and I wanted something mesh.
Yeah.
But then this come out. I ordered the day that this was released for order, and I just could not commit to something that didn't have the mesh in it. So I mean, that's going to be perfect for me.
It is. So it looks fantastic. I was the first one, I think, on our team to get the prototype of the Yarak in this. Drew got the prototype of the mesh Yarak with the pleated seat. So we're spreading the love around a little bit, but they're all going to be available really soon, and we're excited about that.
September 1st is that?
September 1st is the date, and we're going to do something unique. We value quality. We don't want to farm these things out to China or anything like that and have 4,000 of them in a warehouse, but not really be comfortable with where or how they were manufactured. And I'm not saying anybody else does that. I'm just saying we didn't want to pursue that. So Arrow Hunter is busting their butts to do that for us. But what we're going to do is we're going to get enough so that we can do a limited run quantity. If people out there are very familiar with the way that Dan Infault releases his V-sticks, he gets a whole bunch of them together, puts them out, and says, okay, go. They're available to order. And when he sells out through 500 or 1,000 of them, then he shuts it down. And then there's not a back order situation. You don't have people frustrated. They can order. If they get the order number, they know they're about to get them. That's the way that we're initially going to do the Yareks, both the Cordura one with the Predator Fall Gray and the mesh.
So basically, it's going to be in stock and for sale, or out of stock, not for sale.
That's exactly right.
So if I order one September 1st, it'll be shipping pretty soon?
It'll be shipping within a couple days.
That's
we're
awesome.
building stock right now.
Well, let's tell everybody a little bit about it. I know there's been a podcast with Jacob Myers.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we've done a little bit of an Instagram video at the Birmingham show that I got to see. I was at the Birmingham show. Tell everybody what makes this one different than the Flex, and what makes the newest one, the mesh one, different than a Flex with a pleat.
Right. Well, so a couple things that we did was, you'll notice here, and I brought both of these. This is my own personal Flex that I got early on, and this is obviously the Yarek. You'll see a double row of molly loops there. That's, I don't know, 50 different loops here. We figured out, at least our team, okay, so some people, and we've talked about this before, Zach, that you can put 25 different saddle hunters in a room with the exact same gear, and you're going to have 25 different methods of getting up a tree or wearing anything. So, but for us, for our team, we felt that this was too many loops. It was unused real estate. You use the ones over here for an accessory pouch. You might put a carabiner on it or something. But other than that, there's a lot of loops being pretty much wasted real estate. So what we did was we went for the bigger loops back here, 3, because really I'm not carrying more than 3 or 4 items with me attached to my saddle. If I got more than that, I'm either not hunting as mobile as I'd like to, or I need a backpack. And for me, I'm not a backpack dude. I'm going really light. I go in with less than 10 pounds of gear when I'm going up to 20 foot of hunting height. But I only need 3 or 4 things on my saddle. So we made bigger loops, so it's easier to access with a carabiner. A lot of complaints have been in the past is people can't easily fit a carabiner through these tight molly loops. And Casey purposely made them even bigger than the previous versions on the Kestrel. So they're more openable. These are super openable. You can snap a carabiner in these, but when you put the saddle on, the belt on, you can see how flat they lie. I mean, they lie really flat, but it's easy to put your fingers under there, and you can get a carabiner or whatever you want to, and they're really easy.
And I can totally relate to that. I use continuous loops.
Right.
I have continuous loops that I've made out of AM steel and things, and I have to run them through there to be able to easily clip in the dark. I mean, because I don't want to have to turn around and see it every single time.
Exactly. We also had Casey put a second row of molly loops down here, so that that encompasses a couple things. One is you'll notice that there's 2 loops here, and those are exactly the same size, the same width apart that you would use if you wanted to carry a perch in. Obviously, it's a Wild Edge saddle. We wanted it to work with our Wild Edge perch, and so you clip these loops in here, And obviously it'll hang just like that. I've worn it around. I wore it at the show in Alabama when you saw me. I was wearing it for an hour and a half, 2 hours at the show, just walking around with it just like that. But these extra loops down here, if you wanted to get a little ball like a bungee cord with those little balls that kind of go back up through the loops, you could easily use these inner loops here, bungee cord it down, and then that way it's not going to fall out. And the reason why I say that is if you're going to wear this into a hunting scenario from your vehicle to your tree, I would undo the bungee cords as I'm going up, so it's just easy to reach and get. In fact, I made a video not too long ago about adhering or attaching the perch to a tree, and viewers can see it. I just reached out and pulled it out really easy. But if I'm walking to a tree, I don't want this thing to have even the chance of falling off, and then I get to a tree, or especially if I'm running gunning, I don't even know what tree I'm going to end up at a lot of times, right? I'm hunting sign as I'm going, and I'm on the fly, and I find a spot that's got hot sign, and I go up a tree, and if I happen to reach around and go, oh crap, I lost my perch somewhere between here and the car, that's not a good scenario.
Right, you're not on a designated trail in and out of the woods, like you possibly used to do with a tree stand.
Exactly.
You used to have a marked tree, you would go to this tree,
right.
There's your tree stand.
Right. So that's why we've got the loops down here, is that you can tighten the thing in and it's not going to fall off anywhere you go. Another big differentiating factor or feature is you'll see that these loops, because of the nature of the way they're folded and then sewn as they're folded, they work fine, but there has been a little bit of feedback on it's kind of hard to get a carabiner in there. And so we had these guys make them really, these guys right here are really standing out, that they're more of a D loop as opposed to a folded loop.
I noticed that they do incorporate, staying true to the flex, the reflective thread inside.
That was a huge thing for us. Casey knocked it out of the park with the reflective thread. What a genius idea that was. And we've already heard a couple people that, or at least one scenario, I won't say a couple, but I've heard one instance where a guy was climbing a tree and he went around with his lineman's belt and he thought he'd clipped into the lineman's belt loop. Actually, what he'd done is he'd clipped into a loop on his pant belt, and when he got up and leaned back, he fell. And fortunately, I think the guy's okay. I don't think he was on his way up, so
right.
So he wasn't at climbing height, or hunting height, he wasn't at 20 foot. But it's a scenario to be aware of. And
had that been coming down, it could have been terrible.
It could have been. Yeah, you're exactly right. So the reflective thread and making sure that you're in where you think you are is pretty big.
One thing that we have seen a complaint on a few people who've seen it, and me and you've talked about this. I know your answer already.
Yeah.
But people say that you want your molly loops tight to be able to hold the dump pouches.
Right.
And I believe you guys have an answer for that.
Yeah, we do. So as I alluded to, this is absolutely one of the very first Yareks that was made. It's probably the first one, actually. It's the one I'm holding right now. And so we wanted the space that you put your accessory pouch in to be larger. And initially, what Casey designed for us was something that was really large. And obviously, you can get a dump pouch in there, but what that means is when you weight it down, even with our really ultra thin 8mm rope and 2 of those and a couple, mechanical ascenders and carabiners, it's going to pull that on this model right here. It's going to pull it down a couple inches. So our feedback initially, and again, that's why we do prototypes. That's why we do field testing. We said, you know what, go back, Casey, and put a couple stitches in here. And my initial idea was just one would do it. That would keep that from going. What Casey has done on the next models that I've seen, the next generations, is put a couple different ones, couple different stitches, huge, big, thick stitches right there. And then it's still easy to get your accessory pouch in, but it won't fall and won't.
Basically, the stitch is just going to support the pouch.
Yeah,
keep it from drooping.
Exactly. You'll still have tons of. If I hold my thumb here in front of the camera, you'll see I've still got tons of space to put my accessory pouch in here. But that right there is going to keep it from flopping on over, which is what it does right now.
Let's go over 2 things before we go try this thing out, and I appreciate you allowing me to try it.
You bet.
Buckles.
Yeah.
Our waist buckle is going to be exactly the same as the flex.
Yep, they are.
But our leg buckle is going to be more similar to a kite right now.
They are. That is the plan. So we're using the Austria leg buckles for the leg buckles, and then the Raptor for the waist. And what that does is a couple different things. Is it really removes a lot of bulk. And some people don't like they bend over and they do this and they do that and it clanks. It might bind into your thigh a little bit. So this eliminates that. It also makes this saddle extremely ultra light. And I know you've got some footage that you'll share in the video later on of us actually weighing this particular model. It was 2.0 pounds.
Exactly.
Exactly 2 pounds. So you're talking about a full flex feature Yarek with the Cordura patterned camouflage Predator Fall Gray at 2 pounds.
And let's say that the Kite is known as a light saddle.
Yeah.
The Kite weighed 1.82 pounds on the same scale. So you're talking barely a quarter pound, or less than a quarter pound.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the last thing, I'm sure everybody wants to know, what are we looking at like price-wise?
Yeah. Well, so like you said, there's not a huge difference in everything other than we put our own tweaks and twists and our little things on it. So, but other than that, I mean, it's going to be very, very similar. So I'm not exactly sure what the Flex is even retailing for right now. $249, $250, somewhere in that. Somewhere in that neighborhood. We're going to have our Yarak is exactly the same thing. So, yeah, it's going to be right there at it.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate you for having me. I appreciate you for giving me all the information.
You bet.
Let's go try this thing out.
Let's do it.